Somebody go grab Wild Bill, because the Dragonfly is taking flight. And in today's video, we're going to break down the G.I. Joe Classified Haslab exclusive Dragonfly.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel. As today, June 5th, 2023, we finally got the announcement of the 2023 Hasbro Pulse crowdfunding item for the year, the G.I. Joe Dragonfly. And if you're looking for this shirt, hit up the old G.I. Jive store. Type it into your old Google machine out there, but they have all kinds of cool G.I. Joe shirts I do wear on this channel all the time. So check that one out. And I wore my Dragonfly shirt today for this special occasion. As you guys probably know by now, the G.I. Joe Classified Dragonfly is going to be the crowdfunder here. Starting June 5th, which is right now, through July 17th. Need 13,000 backers, but as I film this, just a few hours after the announcement, the official announcement, we're at 6,000 backers. We're almost there. We're almost halfway there after less than a day. Got to feel really excited about this one. Of course, once we hit 13,000, then you start getting the extra tiers, things like that. We're going to break all this down here in this very video, talk about it, give my first thoughts, my first takes, first impressions, and explain some of the stuff we're going to get with this one here. Now, the Dragonfly was rumored late last year. Leaks by Hasbro, some had said that it got out there that this was the plan. A lot of people were like, who knows? Nobody really knew for sure, but this was definitely in the top couple of vehicles people were predicting. If you go way back when they first gave an announcement that it was incoming in the next couple of weeks, I did say the Havoc was the one I was really hoping for, but of course the Dragonfly, I mentioned that in the same breath as that had been the long-standing rumor at this point. The Havoc would have been really cool, but it does make sense. You got the Hiss tank on the ground, you get the Dragonfly in the air. Next year, it leads me to believe we're going to have land, air, and sea. We're going to have something for the sea. I guess Cobra. We'll see what ends up happening there next year. I guess we got to worry about this year first before we get there. But I think they're going to give us a little bit of everything there eventually. So the Dragonfly, a very popular vehicle. Different incarnations over the year. I had the original Dragonfly as a kid, so it does speak to my nostalgia factor, what I played with as a kid. So I'm excited about this. I always did like the helicopters. I don't know about you guys and gals. I was always a helicopter guy before planes in G.I. Joe. For whatever reason, I always thought it was fun because you could have battles on them. You could have the helicopter just kind of hovering and having guys fight. The Tomahawk especially, you could throw guys out of the pit and stuff. Oh, the hours of fun I had. But the Dragonfly, no doubt an iconic vehicle. Some may say the most iconic helicopter in G.I. Joe. I'd say either that or the Tomahawk, but Wild Bill, I think, takes it over the top over, was it Lift Ticket? Was that the Tomahawk driver off the top of my head? I think so. Lift Ticket. That's what I was thinking. So the Dragonfly, a very good idea for a Haslab. An interesting one. We could see a Tiger Force repaint. Nah, I don't think that will end up happening. But of course, Wild Bill is going to be with the Dragonfly. We all know about Wild Bill. One of the all-time favorites out there. One of the great personalities of G.I. Joe with the big old mustache going on, like the old Wyatt Earp mustache or something, the cowboy hat, the glasses, the two pew-pew pistols. Man, Wild Bill, an all-timer there. So you have to have him. He is synonymous with the Dragonfly, of course. And I should step back to July 17th is the last day to back this thing. And I want to put my old business hat on, take that old business step back. Why is that a smart day to end? Well, Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con starts that next week after this ends. Hasbro gets all the money from people, all that kind of stuff. It goes back to last year, 2 years ago, what is time, with the new generation backing of that ring. It was a terrible time around San Diego Comic-Con, summer, things like that, a lot going on. That was a tough time to back something. Now, Haslab would have the same issue, but it is before San Diego Comic-Con, so you're going to get all kinds of announcements, all kind of pre-orders the following week. They're going to beat it to the punch. So if people were going to be on the fence, whatever, making decisions, well, there's no decision to be made. I'm going to get this Dragonfly. So really good business strategy on there. Of course, it is the beginning of the summer. Not the best time to spend money, but the end of summer after San Diego Comic-Con, when you get close to back to school, a lot of vacations happen at the very end of July, 1st of August. That is a rough time for consumer spending. They found a little pocket of a sweet spot with the Dragonfly right here. So I wanted to throw that out there as well. A little business talk, a little business hat. But Wild Bill, like I said, no-brainer, needs to be in there. I think he looks good as far as classified goes. It looks like Wild Bill. You get the removable glasses, the hat, the weapons, the vest is removable. Usual classified stuff. Of course, classified modified style body. I'm here for it. Wild Bill is a great one. I'm here for him all day long. But then they did tease the first tier. So there's going to be 3 different tiers. I guarantee there'll be more if they need to. They will throw more out there. But 13,000 tier is going to be Ripcord. Ripcord makes sense, but this is a Night Force version of Ripcord. And this kind of goes back where most of the time with these Haslabs, things like that, they're not going to give you the ideal version of a person. Now, Wild Bill makes a little bit more sense because he was always stuck with that vehicle for the most part. Yes, he had some single card releases back in the day, I know that. But really, a lot of people think Dragonfly, Wild Bill. Ripcord, they don't think Dragonfly. They think this is a guy that jumps out of parachutes and does all that kind of stuff, and that's where I think as well. And another favorite of mine as a kid, I liked his old G.I. Joe 3 3/4 original pattern coloring better than the Night Force. And Night Force is interesting. It does not give you the main version of Ripcord, so I think that fits the Haslab motif. However, we do know Night Force is going to Walmart, like Tiger Force, Python Patrol, going to Target. So it's interesting, this is almost a Walmart version of Ripcord here in this one, but we need some parachute guys. I'm here for this. Airborne and Ripcord are probably the 2 most famous. My favorite has always been Crazy Legs because he was from Fort Dodge, Iowa. Shout out to Fort Dodge, Iowa, where my grandpa and grandma lived when I was a little kid. So I was always cool to read his file card like, he's from here. Crazy Legs is from here. How cool is that? So I always had a special spot in my heart for Crazy Legs. But Ripcord was probably my second favorite. And then Airborne didn't do a lot for me, but he was there. He was the 3rd man for me, where a lot of people, he was the number 1 man. Just depends. You like what you like and you don't what you don't. But this Ripcord looks very good as well. You get the helmet that's removable, you get the mask, of course, a bunch of weapons, the backpack. Will it have a real parachute? I don't think it'll have that there, though. But we are getting that one. Now, they did tease 2 more unlockables. We'll see what happens with that. I know I wrote that down here somewhere. It was $13K for Ripcord. I think I did mention that. But then you have to get to the next tiers to get the other 2. The other 2, like I said, nobody knows who those are yet. They're not going to unleash it until Ripcord is backed. Once Ripcord is backed, then they're going to announce the second one, and then, or the third one, whatever you want to call it. But that'll be 16,000. Then the final one at 19,000. I truly believe we're going to hit 16,000. We know with Joe fans, they army build these things. There's going to be people wanting multiple Dragonflies. So I do think this will hit 16,000. 19 could be a stretch. Maybe not. It could blow 19 out of the water. And I do hope Hasbro keeps coming back to us and giving us some more. Because I didn't talk money about this yet. I guess this is a better time than ever. You're looking at about $100, give or take, of this thing shipped to you, shipped to your door. If you are a Hasbro Pulse member, all that kind of stuff, which I guess that gets you free shipping. So if you're not a Hasbro Pulse, maybe it's a little bit more. But it's right around the $200 sweet spot is what we're going to call this one. It's all about perceived value at the end of the day. I do perceive this to be a very good value on this one. Heck, they said it's 34 inches by 11 by 13. This is a big, big helicopter. This thing isn't going to fit on a Billy bookshelf. This is going to be the top of a bookshelf or maybe the top of a D-Tolf, depending. But there's going to be a lot of room taken up in your collection by this. I think a lot of people are going to want to hang it from their ceiling. I may do that, but man, you got to be careful with that. You got to make sure everything is right the way you want it. You don't want that thing dropping to the floor. But this is a big, big Dragonfly here. The stand is even huge for this thing, and it has a very cool stand. I like how big and beefy it is for the vehicle. It is needed, obviously, to support the vehicle, but it's a 10 inches of stand on this one as well. So very, very cool there. But it's going to be interesting. I go back to the figures here. We're going to get the 2 next announcements. But after that, I hope maybe they give us some announcement for something like maybe an add-on of some kind to the Dragonfly. I think it'd be cool to have like a nice stretcher maybe you could have, because it does have the cord that comes down. You connect it to the stretcher. Something like that might be kind of a cool thing. And we got to go back to the blueprint. The blueprint would be the His Tank. What did they give us from His Tank? They gave us some accessories for the vehicle, and they also gave us figures. I do expect them to follow that same thing. Obviously, it was a successful program over on the His Tank. I think they're going to try to replicate that over here on this side. Thinking of who the next 2 could be, it really could be anybody. I really do feel that Rakondo could be a part of this, but then it kind of messes with my theory a little bit that the versions we know the most are not going to be in something like this. So Rakondo, I'm not exactly sure, but we could get another Rakondo. I think that's possible. Airborne could be possible. Crazy Legs, probably not. I think he's more with the Tomahawk whenever that day does come. That's where I would think he would land more, because he was kind of that generation. But I think Airborne, possibility of a medic, maybe Doc or Lifeline. Once again, Lifeline's kind of more Tomahawk. Doc would be more Dragonfly, at least in my brain. that is a possibility there. I also really do think one of the two, though, will be some kind of like mechanic or second pilot, kind of a no-name G.I. Joe guy, much like they did with the His Tank technicians, things like that. We're going to get something equivalent of that for the Dragonfly. I do think they will do that because they're going to have our money. They don't want to give up key characters in something like this unless they really have to. They want those for regular mass retail, selling 80,000 of those at mass retail instead of, 20,000 of these or whatever it ends up netting out to be. So to think that we're going to get some major player and their major thing is the third tier, it's not going to happen. That's why I think we'll get a no-name pilot, something like that, something that could be easily repainted, something along those lines. That's what my gut says. Who knows? Hasbro may surprise us. They may mix it up a little bit. But I truly do think we will see in one of those two, a second pilot, a technician, somebody with a helmet, a mask on, an unnamed person. I think that will be the one of the announcements here. So we'll have to wait and see. And they did say, hey, once they hit 13,000, they will announce another one. And we saw that with the His Tank before. Every time they hit a tier, it was like that day or the next day, they announced the second tier. So I truly do think we'll hit 13,000 sometime this week. Could be tomorrow for all we know. Then I know tonight when people get off work and stuff, that will give it a big bump as well. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Tuesday, Wednesday of this week that we don't know what that first extra figure is. So very excited about that. Of course, we'll recap a little of this and talk about any new news this Saturday in the weekly purchases, toy news section of the channel. So make sure you do subscribe to this very YouTube channel. But that is kind of the Dragonfly there. It does have a light up LED system. That's always really cool. I always love that stuff, but it's one of those things I play with it once or twice and then it sits there and I never use it again. I'm sure a lot of people like me are the same way. Obviously, if you're a kid playing with something like this, hey, you're all day long playing with that. But for me, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to review it. I'm going to play around with it for a couple of days. Then it's going to sit on a display stand somewhere, and I'm not going to use that LED a whole lot. But it is a cool function. I love kind of the military LED look to that one. Does look really, really nice in there, I thought. Talked about the stand being big. Talked about how big it is. They did mention sticker sheets, and they did bring up army builders. G.I. Joe fans love their army builders. Yeah, they're exactly right. A lot of people going to be buying multiples of these. They even referenced it in the live stream that people want to have different sticker combinations, different mix and matches to make each Dragonfly feel a little bit different, and I totally understand all that. But for me, I think I'm only diving in on one of these. I could be swayed. I could change my mind. I did pick up 2 His Tanks, but at the time the His Tank was going, if you remember back on the channel, I was a min-on-card completionist and a loose completionist, and that was my plan over there. Since then, it has changed. They went to plastic-free packaging. I said, well, I don't need an on-card collection anymore, and I sold every single one of them. And I said, I'm only a part of the One-Up Club now going forward. That's what I did. So that's why I got 2 His Tanks. I might sell one of my His Tanks. We'll see what happens. I might just keep 2. Who knows? But the Dragonfly, as of right now, I'm leaning towards 1. Of course, we know there's going to be more vehicles. There's going to be more figures in the future. I'm not sure I need 2 Dragonflies. But you guys in the comments, let me know. I'd be interested to hear if you're getting multiples of these. I could see the aspect of buying 2 Dragonflies, keeping 2, and then the extra figures from that one, selling it later on to pay for the Dragonfly. I bet you that could very easily happen. I have a feeling this His Tank, when that thing finally does roll out, no pun intended, that thing is going to be going for a fortune. I just know it will be. I think there's some people that missed out on that. There's a lot of new collectors into the Joe space. A lot of people are going to be diving into that. I think this might have the same thing going on in the future. But the Dragonfly, keep on going through this here. Keep getting sidebar. These are nice conversations. This is a conversation is what this is, with a little bit of rambling mixed in. But the stand, of course, we talked about is great. The LEDs are great. The sticker, choose your own sticker adventure. I'm actually not a big fan of that. My sticker days are past. My dad's probably not going to come over and put these on like he used to do for me, but we'll see. Dad, you're probably watching this. If you could come over about a year from now and put the stickers on, I would appreciate it, but we'll see what's going on when that time does come. We got a lot of different missiles, a lot of different effect pieces. I urge you to watch the video on Hasbro Pulse's YouTube. It shows all that stuff. It demonstrates putting the missile in, all that kind of stuff. A lot of really cool things, a lot of cool add-ons with this one, but it is big. I mean, we knew it would be big, but man, this is big. This is like this big. I don't know where everybody, there's gonna be a lot of collectors that say, I want this thing, I just don't have a place for it. I totally understand that. That is a lot of real estate it's going to take in anybody's collection. But man, it is definitely cool. It is definitely the past brought to life in classified form. You can fit 2 people comfortably in the cockpit. A lot of movability. Of course, the big blade on the top spins around. You got the rotating cannon. You got the rope that comes down. You got the legs for it to stand on or guys to hold on to. Just every bell and whistle you could imagine with this thing is what we are getting in the classified here as a crowdfunder. Very, very cool. I am definitely here for this all day long. I do think they knocked it out of the park. I think the Havoc would have been a very fun choice, and I would not have complained about the Havoc at all. That was what I was really rooting for. But this does work, and I feel like they need to mix it up a little bit. Yes, it would be great to have the Hiss tank and the Havoc squaring off, going 1-to-1, but it's very cool to see the Dragonfly swooping in here and the Hiss tank going this way. I think that is a very cool thing to do too. So I don't hate this by any means. I think it is a good strategy. And of course, G.I. Joe is about the air, the land, and the sea. You got to mix it up. You got to be all over the place. And that's what they did right here. So you get an iconic vehicle. You got a $300 price point for this. I think that does warrant. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that does work for a lot of us. $300 is a lot of money. I get it. But when you break it down here, we know we're going to get some of those extra tiers. I know there's a lot of people who are going to sit on the fence till the end. But $300 for this big, massive vehicle, you got to think this is at least $100, $150 value, right? That's how my brain goes. I mean, it's got to be at least that much. I know some people say this is a $50 vehicle, but we're going to get all these extra figures. You get the exclusivity of this one. Of course, limited production run compared to normal stuff. So $300, yes, is a lot of money, but I do think this one is very, very fair. I know some people will not agree with that. I know some people will say I'm a shill for the G.I. Joe brand, and I kind of am because I love G.I. Joe. It's my favorite, so I do like it. But $300 in the whole grand scheme of all this thing does feel like a very fair price point for this. But you guys, if you think differently, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think the value should be. Do you think 300 is fair? You think this should be 200? And I guess if you have a different price point in mind, let me know your reasoning. Break it down for me. But of course, 300, I'm thinking that we're going to hit all the tiers too. So I truly do think we will hit each one of these tiers. I think there's enough Joe fans out there. There's enough Army Builder fans out there that this will succeed. This will get through. And for $300 to me, feels good, but at the end of the day, it is perceived value, like I said. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this one. Let me know your thoughts on the Dragonfly. Let me know if you were very excited for this announcement or if you were really hoping for something else. And just let me know any of your thoughts and comments on this brand new Haslab crowdfunding for the summertime for the G.I. Joe brand. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. And of course, we got videos every single day, as you guys and gals know. And we got even more content for you on the Patreon channel. Make sure you're checking that one out, as we got early access to all the videos, bonus content, exclusive content, you name it. A ton going on the old Patreon every single day. And best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter. Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for the Haslab Dragonfly, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.